Welcome to my Merry Bookmas TBR 2023. I have put together a plethora of books, so this is what I will be reading for each of the prompts for the 12 prompts of Bookmas. So there are 12 prompts. A couple of them are action prompts, so I don't need a book for those, but for the rest, I have them all lined up on my windowsill, ready to go. So here we go. For the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. Therefore, a book with a fruit or bird on the cover. And I'm going to read The Eyes of the Cat, which is a graphic novel with a blurb from Ridley Scott. So I've always been an admirer of Moebius for many years, his work having a strong influence on two of my earlier films, Alien and Blade Runner. His imagination and way of perceiving and seeing are unique. So I'm intrigued, have not read this. It looks very, like, there's no words. So, okay, this one has 4 words. So, yeah, it's very yellow and it should be a very quick read, but I'm interested to see what has inspired Ridley Scott. On the second day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 2 calling birds. So, romance or friendship? For this, I went with friendship, and I'm going to read The Odds by Lindsay Puckett. And it says, fact, people on average lie about 4 times a day. Fact, statistically, people lie more in January than any other month. Fact, it is easier to keep up a lie with one-word answers than by concocting elaborate stories. Fact, the stories about the ghosts were no lies. The stories of Swamp Root Manor was real. So this is a girl and her friend, and they live at a retirement home. So they have a bajillion grandmas and grandpas, and they need to be able to manifest their oddity to be able to be allowed to stay at the manor, the retirement home. So I will be reading The Odds. Third day, French Hens. Read a book that is set in a country other than your own or translated. So I'm doing both, and I will be reading Opus by Satoshi Kon. So this is a translated manga. Have not read it, but it says Satoshi Kon, director of Paprika, Paranoia Agent, Tokyo Godfathers, Millennium Actress, and Perfect Blue, died tragically young in 2010 at the age of 46. Before he began his anime career in the 1990s, he was one of Japan's most talented manga artists. Opus is Kon's metafictional tale of Chikara Nagai, a creator under pressure to finish his latest graphic novel, Resonance, who finds that the harshest critic of the shocking ending he's got planned is a character who'll have to die in it. Nagai's strengths and weaknesses as a creator are tested beyond the limits as his present and his past, and the worlds of the manga and the reality become the levels of a maze he may never escape, let alone get a chance to resolve the story. So it looks like the manga world and the real world are colliding, and I am very intrigued, so I will be reading Opus. The fourth is Calling Birds, aka Collie Birds or Blackbirds. So I will be reading a dark book, and I'm reading dark both cover and contents-wise, and I am reading Scare Waves by Trevor Henderson, which is a middle grade. It says, don't stay out after dark. The small town of Beacon Point has always been plagued by eerie local legends. It's a town where disappearances are common. Strange creatures have been sighted with unnerving frequency, and ghastly noises echo from the woods. The adults in town are oblivious to those strange occurrences. Others prefer not to talk or even think about them. But over the course of several terrifying nights, a group of kids will come face to face with the horrors hiding within their sleepy town. Guided by the mysterious radio host, Alan Graves, they must work together to follow the clues to a frightful secret before it eats them alive. So, I'm excited. 5 Golden Rings is a book with foiling on the cover. So I will be reading Orochi, Volume 1 by Kazuo Umezu. So this is a classic horror manga. So it is a mysterious young woman slithers her way into the lives of unsuspecting people like the legendary multi-tailed serpent for which she is named, Orochi. So, yes, I will be reading the shiny Volume 1. For 6 Geese I will be reading Volume 6 in Hell's Paradise, which is another horror manga series. This is by Yuji Kaku. So, it is about a ninja who has, in the beginning he thinks he has no reason to live, and then must come to terms with his reason to live and go on this adventure where the shogun is like, hey, I want the elixir of life. It's supposed to be on that very dangerous island. I'm going to send criminals who will each have an executioner assigned to them. So if they go rogue, they'll get executed. But if they bring me back the elixir, they'll be pardoned. So Hell's Paradise is the island, and it is intriguing. So I'm on Volume 6. So let's get going. 7 is a beautiful book. So I'm going to read Snow Glass Apples by Neil Gaiman and Colleen Doran. So this is retelling in a graphic novel style of some classic fairy tales. The cover is beautiful. Gotta make sure I don't have to censor any of the pages. It looks gorgeous. So, Snow White, Snow Glass Apples. So, a chilling fantasy retelling of the Snow White fairy tale by New York Times bestselling creators Neil Gaiman and Colleen Doran. A not-so-evil queen is terrified of her monstrous stepdaughter and determined to repel this creature and save her kingdom from a world where happy ever endings aren't so happily ever after. For 9 ladies dancing, you spin in a circle and blindly pick your next read. So I have here 7 books that I will be having as potential dance partners. So there is a range here. So the first is Tomie by Junji Ito, which I have not read yet. I have been saving this because I love his stuff so much. This is one of the few I have not read yet out of my, most of a shelf of just Junji Ito. So, Tomie. She is a femme fatale with long black hair and a beauty mark just under her left eye. She can seduce nearly any man and drive them to murder as well, even though the victim is often Tomie herself. While one lover seeks to keep her for himself, another grows terrified of the immortal succubus, but soon they realize that no matter how many times they kill her, the world will never be free of Tomie. The next potential dance partner is Yellowface by R. Kwong, which is a darkly satirical thriller about greed, truth, identity, and art, and who a story really belongs to. Reading Yellowface is like riding a roller coaster with no safety belt. I screamed the whole way through. So, basically it is a satirical look at the publishing industry and who should tell whose story. So, Yellowface by R. Kwong. Then I have Dark Rise by C.S. Pacat. I'm not sure how to pronounce, but I believe this is the first of a duology. The ancient world of magic, along with its great battles between light and dark, has disappeared. But a dock boy, Will, is about to discover it has only been lying in wait. Will's life is forever changed when an old servant tells him of his destiny to fight beside the stewards, those who have sworn to protect humanity from the Dark King. He's ushered into a new world and must quickly learn to work with the stewards, as the reborn participants of the long-forgotten wars have begun to draw fresh battle lines. but the reawakening of the descendants of light and dark also reignite old flames, old allegiances, and old enmities. Can Will and the last heroes of the light prevent the dark fate that destroyed the old world from returning? So, yes. The other one that might be a potential dance partner is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Yes, Hendrix. So, since high school sophomore Abby and Gretchen have been best friends since 4th grade, but after an evening of skinny dipping goes disastrously wrong, Gretchen begins to act differently. She's moody, she's irritable, and bizarre incidents keep happening whenever she's nearby. Abby's investigation leads her to some startling discoveries, and by the time their story reaches its terrifying conclusion, the fate of Abby and Gretchen will be determined by a single question: is their friendship powerful enough to beat the devil? Another potential dance partner is The Stuff of Nightmares by Mallory Blackman. So it says, what are you afraid of? What is your stuff? What is the stuff of your nightmares? So it says, it begins with a ride on a train, but where it ends is on a precipice of horror dangling on the border between life and death. It's a moment where Kyle discovers that he's not the only one in his class who knows about fear, not the only one who has nightmares. And now, as death stalks the carriages, it's a moment when nightmares become real. Nightmares of war and a world devastated by chemical weapons, of a body being slowly stolen, bit by bit, of monstrous actions and monstrous creatures from old myths, of jealousy, obsession, and a stalker outside your window. Nightmares of everything imaginable. What will it take for Kyle to finally face his greatest fear? Pacey, compelling, and seriously creepy, don't read this chilling novel late at night. Obviously, this will be a late at night read. And my second to last potential dance partner is Momo by Michael Ende? I'm not sure. But I've heard great things. It says, would you like to see where time comes from? At the edge of the city, in the ruins of an old amphitheater, there lives a little homeless girl called Momo. Momo has a special talent which she uses to help all her friends who come to visit her. Then, one day, the sinister men in gray arrive and silently take over the city. Only Momo has the power to resist them, and with the help of Professor Hora and his strange tortoise, Cassiopeia, she travels beyond the boundaries of time to uncover their dark secrets. So this is Momo. And the last potential dance partner is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wabgeshig Rice. Not sure if I pronounced that right. But yes, it says, as one society collapses, another is reborn. With winter looming, a small northern Anishinaabe community goes dark, cut off from power and communication with no foreseeable resolution. Only very few residents truly realize the community's shortfalls. When unexpected visitors arrive, escaping the crumbling city to the south, tensions rise and allegiances are divided. The harsh winter months pass slowly, and the food supply dwindles as the death toll and panic rise. But the greatest threat to the survival of the reserve might come from within the community itself. So this is Moon of the Crusted Snow. Then we have 10 Lords of Leaping. So leaping to conclusions, I have a thriller here called The Shadows by Alex North. So it says, you knew a teenager like Charlie Crabtree. A dark imagination, a sinister smile, always on the outside of the group. Some part of you suspected he might be capable of doing something awful. 25 years ago, Crabtree did just that, committing a murder so shocking that it's attracted that strange kind of infamy that exists only in the darkest corners of the internet, and inspired more than one copycat. Paul Adams remembers the case all too well. Crabtree and his victim were Paul's friends. Paul has slowly put his life back together, but now his mother, old and suffering from dementia, has taken a turn for the worse. Though every inch of him resists, it is time to come home. It's not long before things start to go wrong. Paul learns that Detective Amanda Beck is investigating another copycat who was struck in a nearby town of Featherbank. His mother is distressed, insistent that there's something in the house and someone is following him, which reminds him of the most unsettling thing about that awful day 25 years ago. It wasn't just the murder. It was the fact that afterward, Charlie Crabtree was never seen again. So that's The Shadows. And the final book prompt is 12, which will be for the group book, which is Find Him Where You Left Him Dead, which is basically Jumanji, but Japanese inspired and really disturbing. So I'm very excited. The author is Kristen Simmons, and it says, 4 survivors, 1 grave mistake. 4 ex-best friends return to a deadly game of a nightmarish underworld to try and save the boy they left for dead. So that is it. That is my TBR and potential TBR for Merry Bookmas 2023. So I hope you may have found some that you also want to read or just put on your radar. So yes, that is it for now. I will see you guys next time. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Good reading.